I think we are online again. Yes, we do. Please,
Okay.
please go ahead. Fast.
Okay. Yes. So what I was saying is that we were open since December. We are open part-time, so that means three morning a week and 2 afternoon. We have 270 members now, and what I wanted to say, yes, and we are going through this situation like everyone else, but it's actually showing a lot of solidarity and creates a huge community, because spontaneously people are making deliveries. And also only members of Cagliari, the city, they can make keep the shop open. And so it's really great to see this community really reacting so fast to the emergency. And so I thank you, everyone. And I also wanted to share with you what Giovanni said, that it's really great to connect and create these links across Europe, and to show to share our models and difficulties for youngers to try to avoid maybe. And as we also communicated a lot with La Louve or with Bologna, to have some of their ideas and how they resolve some of their personal issues in the process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Geraldine. So there's Berta from Food Coop Barcelona. That's, I think, the last. Go ahead, Berta, please.
No. Now? Can you hear me? Yes. No?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I will try to be fast so we don't have troubles with YouTube. I'm from the group in Barcelona who are trying to start a cooperative supermarket as well here. The first time that we met was like 15th of March 2018, after watching the documentary, and it was a meeting with like more than 250 people. So many people of the city were interested in this. And this big group ended up in a smaller group of 30 people that we actually built like an association to start different supermarkets in the different neighborhoods of Barcelona. So this, the last October, we actually constituted the first cooperative that will be the first supermarket that will be located in San Andreu or Alclot neighborhood in Barcelona. And basically now we are a group of more or less 75 members that we are looking also for a place, a location, and we are also trying to increase the amount of members in the cooperative, and also at the same time a bit looking for money to pay the location. So we are a bit in this loop. But now, just before the lockdown, we were also trying to start a campaign to get more members. And well, now we are, this campaign has been a bit, stopped, let's say. But we think that in this, that after this huge issue worldwide that we are having, we will have even more reasons to convince the people to participate in this type of transformative projects, because they really make sense in this time that every time there will be more struggles like this. So, well, thank you very much. And we are also very, we really appreciate this type of meetings and exchange with other initiatives like that, because they are really helpful for us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We wanted to do this because, of course, the situation is kind of strange and meeting physically is impossible, but also because these kind of projects are more, I think, more important in this kind of moments. Or we see how important these kind of projects are in this kind of moments. We know that for everybody that had their shops open are hard times. For Tom and the people of La Louve, are special hard because they have still 6,000 members that come to make to buy in the shops, but they can't ask people to work in. So the little staff of the Louve is making all the work. So maybe Tom want to tell us a bit more of these days?
Yeah. So what happened? So we had kind of anticipated, we are a week or so, or a couple of weeks behind Italy in terms of what's happening with the coronavirus. And so we kind of anticipated that we might have similar measures that came under effect. And so what we did have to do, so we have 5,000 members, but a lot of people, probably the same in your cities as well, that a lot of people, basically people with more money, flee the city. People who have a second country house or something like that, a lot of those people left the city. So we don't have all of our members still in Paris. And then people most of our members are in the 18th arrondissement, where our neighborhood is. But a lot of them are too far away to come they'd be not only breaking the law, but also it's not a good idea to circulate that far. And so we don't quite have 5,000 members, but we do one thing that we can't do, and we did send a message to a lot of co-ops at the beginning because we wanted to make sure that was a thing that people understood. Yeah, we're a supermarket that's based on member labor, but it's also, we have to be really careful because in addition to just being a supermarket, which is already one of the main places where the virus can be shared with other people, if you're a supermarket that has 5,000 people working in it, it's like having 5,000 employees. And so one thing we did really quickly is we stopped our shifts. And so basically the system that we have is we hired 3 extra people on a temporary contracts, 1-month contracts, to help the employees do all of the work that the members normally do. And then our very strong message to the members is to say, you only come to shop, never ever come to work. However, if you are there when you come to shop, if you see a case of pasta on the ground or a case of wine, put it on the shelf. So we have a little bit of help from the members doing that kind of stuff, but we're really trying as much as we can to respect the idea that we don't want a lot of people working in the store right now. Unfortunately, it's disappointing for a lot of people because in moments like this, a lot of people really want to help and they've got a lot of free time, but we have to say no to that, actually, unfortunately. So it's quite exhausting for us. But we thought about, because financially we're okay and we could have closed. Also, we considered, would that be better? Would that be better for the public interest to close? But it's really true that people do count on, we have really high quality food. We have really good fruits and vegetables. We have really high quality things, and it's really inexpensive. And our members are extremely appreciative that we've made the effort to stay open, because more than ever, people are worried about kind of being healthy. And so we don't know how long this will last. It's very tiring, but it has been we're doing the same kind of, our members are delivering to other members who are in the neighborhood and stuff like that. That's obvious. One interesting thing that we're able to do with just some of the protocols is that I've been into a couple of other supermarkets, normal supermarkets, since the crisis started, and the poor people that are working in there, that's the number one thing. But also the people who are working at the cash register, that's got to be one of the main ways that this virus is being transmitted, is these people are touching every product of every person that comes by, and then they're touching every product of every other person that comes by. And so one thing that we can do in our co-ops that you couldn't do it probably as much in a commercial supermarket is we have a staff person, an employee, puts it, does everything that they need to do to touch the screen to make the cash register work, but that person never touches the products of the person. Our members scan their own products. So we do that, and we do a bunch of other things. So there are some ways. Just the fact that we're able to communicate directly by email with all of our members at the same time, that's really made our system quite efficient in terms of it's very hygienic. Everybody washes their hands when they come into the store. Everybody knows the rules about distance, about not bringing children. We disinfect the carts, all that kind of stuff. And that is as people were talking about, in a crisis time like that, we see the different kind of things that a cooperative can do that maybe a commercial supermarket couldn't do.
Thank you very much, Tom. I forgot to present somebody. We have also a COP in Getafe, in Madrid, called Biolibere, excuse me. And Alfonso is here to present the COP, so go ahead, Alfonso, please.
Hey, thank you, Hernan. Yes, we are a small co-op and with about 140 families. We started 6 years ago. There are two full workers there, working full time, who are really the inspiration for all of us, a couple. And we live in Getafe, which is a town in the south of Madrid, and hope to attract people from all the south of Madrid. Our town is like 400,000 people or so. And we did, one of the good experiences we have lately was a crowdfunding last year in which we collected 14,000 euros. The goal was 10,000, so we did pretty good. And with that, we hope to expand to a new place, because now it's really tiny. Talking about the coronavirus now, we only could have like 3 or 4 people in the store, which is open not only to members. Members have a 7% discount, but it's open to the public now because we cannot afford it to have it only for members for the time being. Through the town hall, we are getting a new place, hopefully soon, after the crisis is gone, and then have more space and more revenue. We showed the documentary in Getafe, 120 people came, so it was an inspiration. And we help each other. Some people are bringing their shopping to the people who cannot leave home, either because they're sick or they are single parents or with children or elderly who shouldn't be out. One of the members have made masks so everybody while doing the shopping they have their mask. A psychologist, also member, has offered help as part of their voluntary work, meaning 2 hours per week that we are supposed to do. So there is a variety of ways people can do it. And another beautiful thing we have is a couple of farms that are related to the association Biolibere, to the cooperative. It's not really part of it, but it's people who are in the cooperative run the farms. And they bring, for instance, food to people who need it, who cannot afford it otherwise. Thank you for being here. It's a real precious opportunity to see that this is happening in so many places.
Thank you very much, Alfonso. Just to say, the people that are seeing the exchange through YouTube, that you can put your questions in the chat, and we are going to try to ask. You put your question and to whom you want to ask it, and we are going to try to ask the questions for you. And Giovanni wanted to know, Tom, how many people is working at La Louve now?
Outside, before the coronavirus, we were 10 employees. We were just about to hire 2 more, so we would have been 12. But then we had the crisis, and so that stopped that hiring process. But then again, we've taken on 3 more people temporarily. So temporarily, we're at 13, though, and then we'll have to see what we're doing okay economically. We're doing, we still have enough sales that we're doing okay. But we'll have to see what kind of world and Parisian and French economic situation is when this ends, to see what happens about hiring. But so 10, 12, or 13, that's our answer.
Great, thanks. Pauline wanted to say something. You have like a little hand in the left part of the screen, so you can raise your hand when you want to say something, like in the school.
Yes, thank you, Hernan. I wanted to share a bit also our experience in front of the coronavirus situation and the crisis. So actually, we are running a store which is also really small. It's the same situation as in Getafe. So of course, it's much more easier than, for example, for La Louve, because we just shut down close the access of the store to client. Of course, we amplify the services of home delivery to all people that need it. But also a decision we took in the last few days, and it's also because of the rising conscientization about the economic crisis that is coming. We decide that the Food Coop members that are currently losing their work for any economic reason related to the crisis could benefit from the food that we provide in Dos Ecológico at cost prices during all the time of the closure. So, I mean, it's one more measure that we implement, and I think it's really important in this moment where the cooperative are promoting the sovereignty and the food security for their members. So, I mean, if it can be also an inspiration, or anyone want to share about this kind of initiative you have.
Thank you very much, Pauline. Maybe somebody of the other co-ops that are already open want to say something. I see a hand, it's Geraldine. So go ahead, Geraldine, please.
Yes, I would like to talk about an initiative that we put in place in Mesa. We have what is called the Saspesa Sospesa, which means that we have shopping, like the shopping prepared or prepaid by the members, and we leave it in a basket outside of the shop. And there is also one member that also make a delivery directly to people in need that request for this. Spesa Sospesa. We are also in two platforms locally, Sardex, the local currency, and also Saspesa Sospesa, which is a platform also locally, where they made a list of all the restaurants and shops that in the city they provide this sort of system. So that's really like what I was saying before, a spontaneous community atmosphere about sharing in this art time. We also have deliveries made by the members because we cannot leave the boundary of the city by law. So from one frontier of a city to the next, we have people that relay, and each time they take the shopping for all the members on the way. So this also works very well. Today we had a meeting with the staff, the administration group, and almost more than 1/3 of our daily shopping is made through this delivery. And also we have our group, Sabertula, who is the people making masks. So we have laboratories of a group of members that are making mask for the group. We have received also donation of mask by some of the members as well. And I think that's yes. And then we are still open. We kept the shop open at the same time of hours. We only have more strict rules about the number of people that can enter, etc. But this is by law anyway. So we are just applying the law. In Italy, we only have a few people that can be at the same place, and everybody has to wear a mask and gloves. Also the people going to the shop. So thank you.
Thank you very much. We have some questions from the public. There's somebody that asked if every area of your models, the model that you are picking, is everybody must work, or you allow people that doesn't work in the cooperative to buy. I just first want to say the park slope model is based that everybody can join, but everybody works. Basically, because what happens usually if you don't do that, if you give, for example, people that works a special price and other people can come by and buy because maybe a bit more expensive, you are making, like a kind of class separation in your co-op. People that can't afford expensive food are going to work, and other people are going to come and just buy. So personally, I think that everybody being in the same way related to the co-op can make the people feel more attached to their co-op and generate that community that we want to do. I don't know if somebody wants to say something about this. I have one hand. Pepe from Supercoop. Go ahead.
Hi. Now? Yeah. Well, at this moment, we have in a bad situation because we would like to have the system of everybody can join us, but everybody has to work, like in Paris Slope or Louve. Huh? But the problem we have is our place is a public place. I mean, is the owner, the real owner is the Mairie. So at this moment, the lawyers of the Mairie are studying our case because maybe we cannot open a place, supermarket, with basic food and basic product only for partners, with membership. So at this moment we are in this kind of problem. We would like to have our system like in Paris Slope. Everybody can join us and everybody work. But maybe we are forced in a future to open to the public with of course with another price, but it will be a price, to say to the people, this is not your project, so we are forced to open to everybody. But the aim, the goal of this project is that everybody that join us has to work. And on the other hand, I would like to ask to Tom about the software of La Louve. Once he told us that it would be possible to have the software for our project, and then when we run the project and we get money and we blah blah blah, we could pay a little bit of this service. If it's still possible to do that, I would like to talk with Tom about this.
Thank you, Pepe. We are going to keep that question. There are some people that want to speak about the question before. We have Leyre that raised her hand, and then Giovanni. Go ahead, Leyre, please.
Yes, we have a little difference between the things you said about two different prices. We do have different prices, but we don't think that makes a difference between members. We just ask for 2 hours in a month of voluntary work, and we have a lot of different tasks. You can do the work from home. We have informatic problems, we have technologies, we have financial providers, teamwork, communication, a lot of tasks that can be done from home. So we would like everybody to work in the shop, to do the support at the shop. But actually, we have people who just didn't want to do and preferred to pay a little bit more. So that's the solution we found. And the people who don't want to do the work at shop just pay 25% more, and that's the solution for us. And it's working for people who don't have that time at the month.
Thank you very much, Leyre. Just before Giovanni answer to the question, there's somebody that says in the chat that gentrifications arise first and then food co-ops, and he tags food gentrification. I don't know, but for example, the example of Park Slope is really clear. Gentrification arrived later, much later than the co-op, and actually that place is the place in Park Slope where we can find the most social and racial mixity in all the part of the city, and I think is more or less the same for La Louve and for many other projects. So I don't think gentrification is the first step to a food co-op. Please, Giovanni.
Yes, I'd like only to share our experience about that, because we fix and we thought that was very important to fix since the beginning that all the members have to do their shift. So if you want to, so without any difference of cost, because it means, in our opinion, to fix some differences between people who stay in the same place at the same time. So we fix clearly that all the members have to do their shift. So the people who cannot do that for their own reason, they cannot come into the shop, into our cooperative. But of course, the doors are always open. So if you want to come and to restart with your cooperative shift, you can do that. And after almost 2 years, we think that this is the good way to go. Of course, everyone can do what their specific situation asks. Mainly to make clear that all the members are equal. So everyone has the same situation. So if you do your shift, you can do the same as all the other members. Anyway, we think that it's important to make a clear representation of the future situation since the beginning of the project. In this way, everything will be clear and will be safe the engagement. Then we are thinking about making a different organization and cost for different products. In this way, we can make maybe an easier way to enter in the cooperative for the person with low income. Without placing a different cost for the people, but working all together to make our prices better with the bigger community and with the unique sense of doing, with the unique targets for everybody. We think that this is important to make to give sense to our experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Giovanni. Please remember to raise your little hand if you want to talk, so it's easier to manage. We have another question here. Somebody's asking, how many people have you been during the founding process of the cooperative? For example, I don't know, Andrea, do you want to tell us?
So I think at the very beginning we were maybe 15 people, not more than that, and growing slowly. Then we were about 60 when we established the legal entity, and we are 125 a few months later. So I hope we are growing quite regularly when the condition get back to the ordinary situation.
Great, thank you very much. Maybe Johanna from Food Coop Berlin, do you want to tell us about your group?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to do so. So we're at the moment a core group of 5 people. So we're 5 coordinators, but we have quite a few people helping us with also like during the whole founding process. So we're around like 20 people working on the project in different working groups. So we have one for sourcing, for example, one for all the legal stuff, for community building, which includes organizing events, and also for the business plan. And yeah, so for all the different working streams, we have different groups working on it, and basically a core group of coordinators putting a bit more like work into also having the overview and connecting the different working groups. But yeah, it's also interesting because we're currently also figuring out how to do all the decision making, which is probably also an important thing for the co-op later, and I think we can also learn a lot from existing projects for that. So yeah, like who takes on which decisions and works on which things. So yeah, all interesting things to look at the moment.
Thank you very much. Quentin, do you want to tell us about your project in Munich?
Yes, sure. So we are in a quite similar situation to Supercoop in Berlin. Actually, we are a core team of 4 persons. We have 6 different working groups, communication, product, and so on. We have about probably 40 persons helping us on those different working groups. And then the third circle is, let's say, our community. We have about 1,000 to 1,500 people in our community yet who are supporting the project, but without working on it.
Thank you very much. We have another question. I don't know if somebody else wants to talk about this one. Just raise your hands. We have another question. Somebody talks about, excuse me, food wasting, and which are your strategies to avoid that? This is Ramona from Berlin that asked. So I don't know if somebody wants to ask to that question directly. Yes, I have Berta from...
I can talk a little bit about that.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, well, I can say that at Park Slope and at the Louve, you know, there's it depends what you mean by waste, but no food is thrown away at either of our co-ops. There's a few things that we do that's kind of just implicit in the model. Once you get to a supermarket stage, once you get to a place where you're doing a lot of volume. And one thing that's really interesting is that, Park Slope has these incredible volumes. I mean, I showed it a little bit at the beginning of the film. It's something like 10 times more people come through a supermarket of that size than come through a normal supermarket. So they have just incredible high sales. And so actually, we talk about it a little bit in the film. One thing is food never stays on the shelf. And so and we found that the same thing. We have extremely high volumes. We pack a lot of people into a relatively small space. And so the fact that model is per square meter, more people, that's one thing that just inevitably cuts down on food waste, because you don't have stuff sitting on the shelves going bad. When we had one association that we worked with at the beginning with a kind of a soup kitchen for fruits and vegetables, and they stopped working with us because we didn't have enough to justify them coming by. Another thing that we do, Park Slope does the same thing, but it's not as unusual in the United States, but in France it's kind of unusual, is that we do a really good job of refrigeration. And so we have just in the basement where we store fruits and vegetables before they're put on the shelf, we have 4 different temperature zones. Some for citrus fruits, which should be a little higher, some, things that apples and pears and berries that give off ethylene gas. We separate those from other things, and then on the sales floor, we also put products at the right temperature. And that also goes a really long way to not having wasted food. And then otherwise, what we do if we do work with one local kind of a soup kitchen now that will come by and look at our fruits and vegetables and see if there is anything that's edible but not sellable. And then the other stuff we compost, and we do compost and methanization. And methanization allows us to also put meat into those bins so that we don't have to get rid of those. Park Slope has a good system, which is not legal in France, but once things settle down, we're in the process of trying to get permission, an exception from the state of France in order to freeze some of our meat. We buy with our beef producer, we buy a whole animal. So we buy a cow, and so we get it. We get everything. We get the tongue, we get the organs, we get all that kind of stuff. Park Slope does the same thing, and then once that stuff is getting close to its expiration date, they'll freeze it. And then they will exceptionally mark it down a little bit more. I think they take 10% off, and then they'll sell that. And so they basically don't even put into some kind of a methanization bin their meat. So we'd like to try to do that in France as well.
Thank you very much, Tom. I don't see hands raised, so we are going to. Yes, Berta wanted to talk. Berta from Barcelona. Go ahead, Berta, please.
Hi again. I just wanted to say that still we didn't open, but since the beginning, since the first meeting, actually, we were a kind of a big group of people that we were really interested in making a difference with this initiative and making a new supermarket that would be really like the most sustainable possible. And actually, at the beginning, we created a commission, like a working group about, let's say, sustainability and food zero waste. But at the beginning of the project, it didn't make a lot of sense to have it. But now that we are more focusing and we have work on like the business model and operation plan and all this, so we have it more or less ready for when we have the location. We also applied for a grant from the municipality of Barcelona to make a project to make a zero waste plan. So we think that having the opportunity to create a new supermarket, we can have the opportunity to design it already in a way where we can prevent like all types of waste, let's say, the most possible, no? And that's actually something that was really surprising, again, no, when you see the Park Slope documentary, the Food Coop film, you see that they have problems even with the things about the plastic bags, no? And this is something that we didn't decide it yet, but we want to make it as much sustainable as possible. And I think that it's just a good opportunity to do it when you are starting the project.
Thank you very much, Berta. We have another question from the chat. Somebody that asked to the already running co-ops, how are your solutions to include handicapped people and people and old people who are physically not able to work at the shop? How do you manage that?
Well, we do the same thing that Park Slope does, which is, well, handicapped people, if they have basically the rule is if you have a handicap condition, you don't have to work and you can still shop, but you can work. And we find we have some blind people, we have quite a few people in wheelchairs, and we, for people who want to work, there's plenty of stuff that they can do. For old people, it's a little trickier because you can't just say, starting from 80 years old, you don't have to work, because sometimes for different reasons, people who are 60 years old are in much worse state of health than somebody who's 80. It's complicated. We basically have an informal rule where if somebody approaches us in our membership office and they say, I'm too tired, I'm just getting too tired, we say, no problem, you don't have to work. Basically, that's it. It's like a little village. And so, kind of a big village at 5,000 or 17,000 at Park Slope, but it's people, we're obviously reasonable about that kind of stuff. But most people want to work at the Louve. It's maybe a tiny bit more cynical at Park Slope, just because it's a bigger institution and it's an older institution where they maybe have and it's a more bourgeois neighborhood. It's a richer neighborhood. And you maybe have more people who just want the great prices and the good food, and they don't want to do any work. But if you ask almost every member of the Louve, and most members at Park Slope, I think as well, what their favorite thing about the co-op is, knowing that we have absolutely amazing prices and great food, it's working. That's what they really like to do.
Thank you, Tom. Leyre raised her hand, so please.
I would say same as Tom. People who come to the supermarket want to work there, and if they cannot, we trust everybody. They don't have to do an explanation about why they cannot work. So we just, if someone cannot, just say and don't have to work. I think that's one of the rules, that the confidence between people here. About the meters for Berta, we are 70 meters in the shop, and we have like 20 meters in the warehouse. We are very tiny shop and warehouse too.
Thank you very much, Leyre. Alfonso from Biolibere wanted to talk also.
Yes, what we do in Biolibere is that actually you become a member and as a couple. So there is a member and then the person which is associated with that member who could also shop. And so they could share their 2 hours per 4 weeks there. And I can imagine if you are an older person, you could put a relative or somebody, a friend, or a handicapped person, and then that person could work you 2 hours, or both of you could do the shopping. That's a possible solution.
Great. Thank you very much, Alfonso. Geraldine raised her hand also. Please, Geraldine.
Yes, I wanted to answer to the question about who is working in the shop, and also for the handicapped. Together, so everyone should work in the shop. We have considered maybe that some of the tasks that we would have to pay a professional, and we have this professional within our member. We are considering, and it was actually a discussion last week, that instead of making 1 or 2 or 3 turns, they would provide this professional advice or professional documentation that is compulsory. Anyway, we would have to pay someone else to do it. So it's better that it's one of our members to do it in exchange of their turn. And as far for handicapped, it's maybe the same as Getafe. You join the Food Coop with as a couple, or at least a family, and so someone in the family can make the turn. But we already made some notes, as we had someone who was eye deficient or blind, and she gave us like some good tips of how organizing the shop, for instance, for people who have. And so we have also studied some arrangement about how we are supposed to dispose things, so that if any people who had some sort of walking problems or etc. could access the shop. Sorry for the vocabulary, but I'm trying to use the best word possible.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Geraldine. There are some people asking about financial ways, crowdfunding and other kind of fundraising. I'm going to let you answer, but first I wanted to say that the film had been a basic step for many cooperatives. Some of you can tell. So many groups that were starting their co-ops since the film was released in France in 2016 showed the film to the town or to the city as a way to share the model and to show that it works and that it can be great. So if you are trying to found your co-op, I encourage you to contact us and to try to fix together a screening of the film. We have been part of the development of many projects, so we can give kind of advice and also put you in contact with other projects that can be useful to you. Somebody want to talk about financial aspects? I have Pauline. Go ahead.
Yes, hola. Thank you, everyone, for the movie, and of course it has been like a great tool for all the cooperatives. I think I just wanted to comment something about the other subject.
We have, excuse me, Pauline, you have some problems with your mic, I think.
Yeah. I will just shut down the camera, maybe.
That was better, I think.
Is it better?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think it's just really interesting also to see through all the conversation we are having that in all the projects there is a value of work which is really, really different from the common culture now. The fact is it's unremunerated work. We mainly see because of its social value now. It's really a tool for the cooperative to include people and to make us more equals, and to try to use work as an inclusive tool for everyone in the society. And about finance, so I think it's a really clue team in the foundation of the cooperatives. In the case of La Osa, we will be financed by 3 ethical banks. It has been a really, really long process of negotiation and to present the project and to convince them. We had a lot of support from institutions and from movement in Madrid, and also because I mean, you have to have a strong team to also to be able to negotiate and to answer to all the questions banks can ask. It's true that in Spain, I think other projects can confirm we had really few support from institutions. So yeah, basically it's fundraising, crowdfunding, and negotiation with banks in our case. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Pauline. Your mic is kind of noisy, but I think we get it. Pepe wanted to say something. Pepe from Supercoop Madrid, please, Pepe. Pepe.
Yeah. Definitely the problem thing, no? I would like to say that at this moment we have a crowdfunding open. We just reached the first step, and then we are going to continue to for people to put some money. I invite you to do this, no? And also I would like to say that we try to make our financial problem to solve with spending ethical banks. It means that there's a few institutions that they just work with social economy. It means that they don't buy weapons. They don't buy or blah blah blah. No? They work with projects that they related with some kind of social and helping people project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pepe. You have some network problems also. Maybe you can try to find another place for next time we're going to talk, because it was hard to hear to you. Both of you, maybe it's in Madrid that network is not working very well, because Pauline had the same problem. Quentin wanted to say something from Munich.
Yes, just want to share one of our plans for financing. We are planning to do a loan campaign, which means, for example, if a member is paying a loan of 300 euros for the food co-op, he will get during the next 10 years, every year, 30 euros back as a coupon to buy in the co-op. So it's a way to not lose any money for the members and get a financing for the co-op. This is our one of our plans for financing.
Thank you very much, Quentin. Andrea wanted to tell us something also.
Yes, because it's fresh in my memory, we have yet started. So about the funding, the first source, it was we won a kind of a startup contest, and we received the loan from the cooperative league. So that was the first funding for us. And we also organized several financing initiatives, including, for example, the selling of gadgets, something like that, and And also we opened a mortgage with cooperative financial, which the name is Magsay, and is a kind of mutual and solidarity financial, not an ordinary bank.
Thank you very much. Geraldine wanted to share something with us also.
Yes, wanted to share about the financing. So we have loan and participation from our members. We have a loan with Banca Etica, which is the same as I think Pepe in Madrid and Andrea also. The name of the bank is Banca Etica, and they have also ethical background. We have also micro credit, and we also won a grant with Sardinia Ricerche about social impact project, and all this is our base for the financial support. We also have a crowdfunding in place now for a documentary about our evolution and creation, and also similar to Park Slope, have the specificity of the regional of Italy, so that we can also participate with the funding of other small reality, so some other reality in Italy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Geraldine. Tom, you wanted to share something?
Yeah, just one thing. If the idea is to become a supermarket, so something that's, in France, a supermarket means something that has 400 square meters of sales space. So the Louve has 1,500 square meters total. That's it. A project like this doesn't have to be that big. But if you're trying to do a supermarket, just something to keep in mind is that the things like crowdfunding, that's probably not going to finance or even be even a tiny part of the financing of your project. We did a crowdfunding campaign as well, and it was pretty successful. But we knew that was just for the preparation of the project. Just to give you an idea of the scale of what kind of money in France, at least, the different projects are, it's taken to open them. So for us, it was quite expensive. When we're in Paris, which is quite expensive, we had the space that we got, we had to do everything to it. It was a brand new space. So we had to put in the electricity and the plumbing and all that kind of stuff. And so our total budget was 1.5 million euros. And so in our crowdfunding campaign, we got 42,000 euros. So doesn't really even appear on the radar too much for the funding of the project. Some other projects that are opening the project in as a supermarket. So often projects, they go through a stage where they have a little boutique, and they do that to kind of prepare to open in a supermarket stage. And so a couple of projects that are doing that are the project in Lille, which is a really great project, Super Quentin. They've been in a little space of 200 or 300 square meters, and now they've got something that's about 1,000 square meters. And to do all of that, I think, I haven't heard it recently, but I think the total budget was 700,000 to 800,000 euros. There's a project in Toulon, in the southeast of France. They're also just got a really good space, and their budget's probably, I think it's 400,000 or 500,000 euros. And so those are relative. When you look at supermarkets, those are tiny budgets, but it is a slightly different scale from crowdfunding campaigns and things like that. And so the important thing that exists in Europe, and one reason, just a thing to never forget with this, is that Park Soap has existed for 47 years. And since the 80s, a lot of projects have tried to imitate what they do, and every single one of them has failed. They exist for a couple of years or for a few years, but then they fail. And one of the big reasons for that was that in the United States, there are not institutions that are willing even to give loans, or very few, or any other kind of financial support. And so the capital for the project just comes from people's pockets, and it's not enough. And so one possibly lucky thing, we'll see how that'll is what's happening when we come out of this crisis and what the economic impacts of that are. Hopefully money, this kind of financial support will still be available. But one lucky thing in Europe is that there are institutions that can loan money and sometimes give money, but usually loan money to projects like ours. We worked with a place called France Active, and that also had a partnership with basically the French government, where we basically got 800,000 euros in loans from that. And without that, we would not exist as a supermarket, and our project wouldn't work. So it's kind of a lucky thing that those institutions, for the moment at least, exist in Europe.
Thank you very much, Tom. I wanted to say also that the fact that one cooperative exists in one country, for example, Louve in France, that the business model can pay the debts and all that, mean that new cooperatives in the same country are going to have better financial opportunities. So
that's absolutely true. I mean, the Cagette in Montpellier, which is another really good project, but they're quite small. They would have liked to have had a bigger space, but they were very quick in starting their co-op, and they started before the Louve was profitable. And so they were not able to get the financial support of those institutions that were waiting to see if we were profitable. And now that we are, it's easy for these other projects. So we're counting on Berlin, and we're counting on Madrid. We're counting on you to have a smashing success, so that the other projects in your countries can take off.
Thank you very much, Tom. I don't know if some of you want to say something else. Somebody write us to say that it's a pity that the exchange is in English, but of course with cooperative from Italy, Spain, and Germany, it's kind of difficult to find a common language outside of English. So maybe we're going to try to do other kind of talks with people, all the cooperatives from Spain, for example, all the cooperatives from Italy, or something like that. Let's try. Not with me for the German, because I don't speak German, but of course, these kind of things are going to be done. I don't know if you want to say something else, raise your hands. I think have been like 2 hours and 40 minutes, 1 hour and 40 minutes now. Avecinal Zaragoza, please.
Yes, I don't know who was asking about the language of this meeting, but I would just want to remind that we are starting in Spain a meeting to all the projects working or not of food co-ops or co-ops. It was going to be in April, but obviously it is not. But I think it will be at this year, at the end of this year, maybe. So, yeah.
Great, thank you very much. What we are going to do, we have the emails of many people. Not everybody that saw the film sent us the email to see the exchange, but we are going to send an email with the link to the video to everybody. And feel free to send us the contact of each cooperative if you want, and a few words if you want people to know something else about you and where they can contact, so we can get linked in that way. Pepe of Madrid wanted to see something. Tom says that we can talk in Esperanto. It's true. Actually, they said you can learn it in a few hours, so next week maybe.
Well, just to say, well, just to say goodbye, I would like to say that at this moment, Supercoop in Madrid and Lavapiés, in the very center of Madrid, we have around 750 people, members. We are working around more. Well, there's few lines, more few people who is working. Hardly in Supercoop, maybe like 10, 15 people, and then there are few groups, like 6 groups different, financial, construction, blah, blah, blah. And then I think we could be like 30 or 40 people. We already have an association, like Friends of Supercoop, in order to have the labor, the hand labor to work, and we have a cooperative, like legally, and we had a crowdfunding. We also have some money from loan of people, particulars, and then at the moment we have in the point to always to approach the financial, the ethical banks to have enough money to open the shop. And thank you for this opportunity, and goodbye.
Thank you very much, Pepe. Before you start going, we wanted to thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. This was like an experiment for us. We are really happy. We had some technical problems, but that's how things works usually for us. So you are used to? No, joking. But thank you very much, and it's really heartwarming to see all these projects everywhere in Europe, and it's just the beginning, we know. So let's continue, and quite soon, when we are going to be free to go outside, we are going to meet all together maybe and talk without these machines that have always problems. I think Berta wanted to talk. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to talk before about the financing, and I just wanted to share that in our case, we are actually, we are looking for funds, but we found like there is this kind of triangle, no, that there is like having the location is a must. Having also a critical mass of members or supporters is also a must to have. And of course, also the funds to obviously, like once you find the place, be able to make all the all the construction and all this stuff. And at some point, we didn't know. Well, we were looking for a place before, because we found that we are actually a group of people that are from all over the city of Barcelona. So it was we didn't really have at the beginning a specific location where we wanted to open the supermarket, and it took us a while to study which location would be a nice one. No, also like to have a nice impact in the community. So once we found it, we could actually make a more defined campaign to get members from that location. But it's a bit, we think it's a bit difficult for the people to not to believe in the project, but to see that it's real if you don't have a location to say that you will do it there. So it's a bit of a loop, no, where to start, looking for a location or getting members. So it's a bit like things that they have to be done, I think, at the same time. I just want to say as well that, to thank you for the initiative. If it's the last opportunity I have to speak, I think on behalf of all the people from the project, from Food Coop Barcelona, we really appreciate this type of meetings, and we are looking for doing many more. Bye.
Thank you very much, Berta. Before we continue saying goodbye, there's a last question. Maybe somebody asked, how do you take decisions with thousands of people. Maybe Tom, do you want to answer this question? How do you manage that in La Louve and Park Slope? How decisions are made?
Yeah, so that's one of the things. So we have available to anybody who's interested. We have a list of all the different things that kind of the main things that we learned from Park Slope. So we've been talking to the people from Park Slope every week for about 6 years now. And with them, we made a document that said, how come your co-op works and all these other co-ops failed? And there's a bunch of things. But one of them was about decision-making. And basically, to put it quickly, so they now have 18,000 members. And so basically the decisions, there's two kinds of decisions. There's like big picture decisions that are made by the general assemblies, where 18,000 people, if they wanted to, could come. Usually it's not 18,000 people, it's a few hundred people. And those are things about like, should we, like currently, before the coronavirus, should we open a second location? We have so many people that want to come. Should we put the co-op's finances a little bit at risk and put the energy and the capital into opening a second location? So that's a big picture question that's voted by the members. On the other hand, for the day-to-day operational things, it's the paid staff. It's the employees that, in total transparency, they talk about everything that they do, but they have decision power. Now, those things can be discussed in general assemblies and all that kind of stuff, but that's a really important thing, so that you don't have 18,000 people trying to decide where to put the chocolate in the supermarket, or for the employees, that those employees don't have 18,000 contradictory bosses. That's something in the list of things that have been fatal for projects in the past that have tried to imitate what Park Slope has done. That's been one of the problems. There's one project in America that has problems that their paid employee had to quit their job in order to get the power that they needed in order to make the right decisions for an employee. So just kind of crazy situations like that. So we do the same thing. Again, total transparency on the part of the employees, but we choose, we decide on the operational things. Big picture stuff, it's the co-op, which is kind of like any business. With these are shareholders in our company. You could think of it that way, and so shareholders, they're involved in the big picture decisions, and then the operational stuff is left to the employees on the day-to-day level.
Great, thank you very much, Tom. So we are going to make the last road. Pauline, you raise your hand. Turn on your microphone. No, I'm sorry, but it's not working. We can't hear you. Thank you. Somebody else want to say goodbye or to say something before we close the chat? Raise your hands. Pauline, now I can hear you, I think. Try to talk. No, it's not you. Okay, Leyre.
Yeah, just to say thank you, everybody. Good luck. See you soon, hopefully.
Thank you very much. Alfonso, Biolibere.
Yeah, the same thing. Thank you very much. I remember one lady in the documentary that said, "I love doing this. Me encanta hacer esto." And really, when you go shopping there to your supermarket, bio supermarket, and cooperative, is so wonderful. So hopefully many more people will have this experience soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alfonso. Johanna wanted to talk also.
Yeah, just really quickly wanting to say goodbye and thank you to everyone. It's really cool to be in touch and to exchange and learn from other co-ops. And yeah, I would be really happy if we can continue this kind of exchange.
Thank you very much. Andrea.
Oh, the same for me. It's very interesting to hear from you all, and although we are so different in numbers and places, I think we have something to share, and I hope we can do it again and share how things go on. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Quentin.
Yes, thank you everyone for the exchange. I think it's very important that we keep in touch, especially also maybe for all the co-ops in creation in Germany that we create also exchange group. And thanks Hannah and Tom for the organization today.
Thank you. Geraldine.
Thank you so much for inviting us, and also thank you for organizing this event. I think it's really key to exchange. I mean, we heard Tom referring to Paris Louve, that they are in contact every week for 7 years. So I think it's really, I see this as a good sign that we are all at different stages. We all have our regional differences, even in each country. But I think it's really important that we can learn from each other. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you very much. Giovanni.
To everybody, especially to the people, to the realities, to the guys who are starting something new. So a great encourage from our side, and yeah, good.
We lost you, Giovanni. You have some network problems. I think the network is as tired as us. Somebody want to say something else, Tom?
Just good luck to everybody during this crisis, and we'll have to see. We'll have to just see what happens. I mean, we're going to have some financial, economic upheaval in the, it depends on who's in charge in your country where you are, but there could be good long-term effects that come out of this time period in ways of wanting to change, but it could be the opposite, you know what I mean? And so we just have to be really frugal right now about be really conservative, and we'll just have to keep in touch and go over what's happening in the different countries. Who knows when, in the summer, in the fall, whenever, and see where things. I think that people, I think at the Louve, at any case, I think that we'll probably have a lot of people who are interested in joining the co-op again once the confinement period is over. A little bit, that's because people can see what we've done during the confinement, and so I hope that's the same for all the projects. Good luck, everybody. Stay healthy.
Thank you very much, Tom. So we are going to close now. Thank you, everybody, also that have been through YouTube seeing the live. We are going to send an email for all of you that sent the email to info@foodcoop.film with the contact of the co-ops and with the link to the video, maybe some extra material. Let's see. Thank you very much, and see you soon.
Ciao.
Adiós.